Welcome to episode 74 of the Two Rash Challenges podcast. I'm Dave Lewis. That's Eric Neal over in the Bahamas. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Man, living the dream. I'm off work for the whole month of July, so I am in mid-vacation form right now.
Dude, isn't this awesome? There's games every day, like 4 games, 5 games. There's a game every. This is the beauty of the pandemic. I hate to say it, but we're getting so much football, so much Premier League football. Sometimes I'm listening to the crowds, and I'm kind of like, well, lack of real crowds, and I'm like, this sounds pretty good. I'm into it. This is fine for now, right?
For now.
Yeah. So I want to let everybody know if they go to YouTube and type in Two Rash Challenges, we're going to be on TV, man. Your face is made for radio, Eric Neal. I don't know why we're doing this. But if they go to Two Rash Challenges on YouTube, they'll find a simulcast of this show. So you can either listen to it or you can watch it. Please don't throw up when you watch it, okay? Let's get to Liverpool, all right, Eric?
Let's do it.
So this was an interesting week because, we win the championship. The crowds go crazy outside Anfield. They don't do any social distancing. Klopp is pissed off, whatever. So you figure they're going to follow up with a big celebration, right? Right? Against City. They're going to play Man City and look great. So for the first 25 minutes, they looked great. They did. And the rest of the game, they looked like crap. And they lose 4-0 to City. I thought it could have been 6-0. I don't know what happened. That was shambolic. They looked flat. Gomez gives up a bad penalty. Sterling scores against Liverpool, which I hate. I hate Raheem Sterling scoring against his old club. They look discombobulated. It's just like it was really depressing. Klopp looked depressing. The players looked like they had a hangover. I think Pep even said, like, a little dig, like, they look like maybe they had a few too many drinks kind of thing. I don't know what the quote was. But I was pretty upset, man. That was not good.
I know I quite enjoyed it. Really, it all started off with the shithousery of Bernardo Silva during the Guard of Honor. Did you see it?
Why do they do that Guard of Honor, by the way? It's a very strange tradition.
Right?
Right?
It is a very strange tradition, but the City players lined up, clapping in your boys, great job to the winners. And Bernardo Silva just standing there, not clapping, like he just did not give a shit. It was the most beautiful thing ever. He didn't look him in the eye. He just stood there and was like, are we done with this yet? And that set the tone for the whole thing. I think you guys thought, like, well, we're just Liverpool. We're just going to walk in and do this. And you got punched in the mouth.
Eric. There's no way this team and Klopp came in with overconfident against City. I mean, City, no. I don't buy that. I think it's just a flat performance. They're a little hungover from their celebrating. We can forgive them. The problem is I don't want this season to kind of be mediocre for the last 7 games. First of all, it gives you fuel.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want it to kind of damper anything. As long as they get that record of over 100 points, I'll be happy. But the way they looked was horrible. The next game, the teams are playing 2 games in a week, basically, sometimes 3. They still didn't look good. No. They still didn't look good against Villa. Villa looked like a team that was nowhere near relegation. But look, Liverpool win. They get the 3 points. They win 2-0. Sadio Mane scores, and Curtis Jones scores, who's a nice little player for Liverpool. But look, City loses to Southampton. So they're so flawed. And that kind of encapsulates the season, don't you think? I mean, City, another error, defensive error, that what was the guy for Southampton? I forget the guy. I forget Adams, I think. Yeah. Chips Ederson. Pretty nice, right?
Yeah, look, beautiful for our friend Marcus. Grew up Southampton. Lived there in the city, supports the team his whole life. It's a beautiful thing when you get something like that. I mean, they're kind of in the Newcastle situation a little bit where you're safe. You're for sure safe. You weathered some storms during the season. You had the 9-0, I think, earlier in the season.
Got that right. It was 9, wasn't it? Yep.
Yeah. I mean, just the absolute massacre. And for the manager, a lot of managers, that would have been it. That would have just been, death to you there. But to come back from that, and it's weird. That's the thing about City this year. in the past, you never got those matches, or you got one of those, like when they lost to Newcastle, and it was just a complete shocker. There was no possible way it should have happened. This season, what do they have, like 7 or 8 losses? I mean, something.
They got 9. They have 9 losses.
God,
9 losses.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know what it is, but how can they show up and just do Liverpool like that? Yeah. And then lose to Southampton. I mean,
they're kind of winning one, losing one, draw. They've been very inconsistent. Look, we said last week, and you laughed. I said, look, they might not even break 80 points. And right now they're at 66. They get 5 wins. They're at 81. They're going to drop more points. They're getting in the high 70s, which is a huge drop off. But back to Liverpool. Look, I just want them to get to the point. I don't need them to play champagne football, heavy metal football for the rest of the way. Just get me 4 more wins, a draw. Look, if another loss happens, fine. I'd rather not see that. But if they get to 103 points, it's still an all-time great season.
What if they hit 99 points? Like, how mad
that pissed me off. And actually, believe it or not, the perception of the season, I think, will change. Just slightly if they don't get to 100 points, or at least break 100 points. If they get 99, that means they really slumped at the end. And up to this point, and you've pointed it out, which really annoys me, is like their form has not been great. But anyway, I blame the water break on that one.
No, some teams, it really helped. Yeah. Newcastle being one of them. Some teams have come back and been a shambles, or continued on being a shambles. I mean, I don't know if it really is like universally a benefit or a detractor. It probably just depends on your club and what your momentum was like with going into the break and all of those different things. But I mean, the beautiful thing is Newcastle play against Liverpool on the final day. And if you're on 99 points
and you beat us,
because all the other chances of us doing something to annoy you, this is the last great thing that we can do.
This is the last one you could get me on.
Yeah.
That would be an annoying one.
That would be beautiful.
I would take down your flag here. I would take down your scarf, your shirt. It'd be gone. That would piss me off. Look. I'm excited about them winning the championship. This is a bizarre season. It's almost like I don't want to talk too much about it with you because it just brings me down. So let's go. And by the way, Mo Salah, I love him. He gave up the ball a lot the other day against Villa. But when he's on, I'm telling you, I know you're going to laugh at this. When he's on and he's taking players on, he's Messi light. He is Messi light. Eric.
I'm not laughing. I'm holding it in.
When he gives the ball away, he looks like he could play for Newcastle. Like, he's just hot or cold. But the weird thing is when Henderson came in, and I thought of you, they were really dragging against Villa. When Henderson came on and Wijnaldum came on, the whole game changed. That's why Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain are good squad players. They really are. Coming off the bench, Keita can fill in there and there, but it's Henderson and Wijnaldum are the difference makers. So Henderson, Player of the Year. Can we move on to Newcastle, please?
All right. As always, this is the point of the show where I think it's best to go to our man on the streets of Newcastle, Andrew Wells.
Hello, this is Andrew Wells, live from Newcastle, and here's the reports from Bournemouth and West Ham. Well, we're going to start with Bournemouth, which was, let's be fair, an absolute demolition job, and everyone's view on that was just it was even better than what we played against Sheffield. Everyone's buzzing. I mean, people were praising like everyone on that squad. I mean, Longstaff, he had one of his best games in a black and white shirt, and the tackle actually led to the goal, which was it was a fantastic tackle. Everyone's saying that, and then the ASM as well. Like, we all knew he would tear it up, but we didn't expect how much he'd tear it up. Getting the hat-trick of assists, which everyone's absolutely buzzing about. And also, as well, Emil Kraft. I mean, I'm not his biggest fan, and to be fair, I thought he had a bad game when I was watching it. But when others have mentioned it, and I looked, he actually didn't play too bad. I think the lockdowns helped him the same way it has Joe Linton, with the whole, like, no pressure on your back sort of thing from the fans. So, I mean, he did prove it, and then I'll talk more about him later on in the West Ham report. But Everyone was impressed with him. Lazaro, when he came on, everyone was impressed with him as well. I mean, literally, I could just say it. The whole team was impressive. But although people are sort of kicking off with Andy Carroll for what happened at the end, but hey, we're still a 4-1 win. So really, that's really, really impressive for us. So I'll move on to West Ham. And honestly, people were surprised that he didn't ring the changes as much as he did in this game, because obviously the games are coming thick and fast due to the situation. And I mean, honestly, I would have started mixing the team up by now, and I would have rested the ASM for this game because he's played like four games in like 12 days. So, and with his hamstring, it's pretty unreliable. It's a pretty big worry about that. But Bruce clearly knows what he's doing in a way. But yeah, going on to the game, I mean, people were slagging themselves off slightly about the goal. But I mean, it's all like swings and roundabouts, really, because we got a bit lucky against Sheffield with the same type of scenario, so that came back on us. But obviously, it's one of them situations again, and obviously, what fans were really impressed about was Kraft again. Like I said, I mean, he's just played an absolute brilliant. He played a brilliant game that game. In fairness, I mean, he even put in a cracking cross, which Miggy got on the back of it. And then also even Gill, he got some praise. I mean, that fantastic 1-2 he did with Shelby. I mean, I can't even believe West Ham are appealing that, to be fair. I mean, no one can, and they're also praising the mentality, because obviously we went back behind twice. I mean, nothing we could do about them goals, but because Dubravka wasn't at fault for any of them, it was just unlucky on the second one. So obviously the mentality will come straight back, and it was brilliant. However, people did start to have another go at Joelinton again, which seems to be a bit of a norm these days. But I'll admit it wasn't. He did some good things, but he kind of did some bad things as well when I look back at the game. But yeah, really, that's all I'll talk about that. And then there was a big surprise that ASM and Bruce have both been nominated for Player and Manager of the Month, respectively. So, I mean, I was out on Saturday asking people about that as well, and everyone's surprised about Bruce, but he deserves it in a way, because since the lockdown, we haven't lost a game. I mean, and 6 even before, if you include Southampton. So people say it is actually a well-deserved thing, but I mean, I'll admit, hands up now, he has proved me wrong, and a lot of others. So really, we just hope he wins it, but others are doubtful, but they do reckon the ASM will get it. But other than that, that's all I report this week, and then we'll move on to Man City and Watford next week. So until then, I'll see you all later.
All right, as always, I want to thank Andrew for that report. It's really good to get the vibe of what's happening there on the streets of Newcastle, and right now, people are kind of feeling good about things, kind of riding high. You got the 4-1 against Bournemouth, man.
And what's your boy St. Maximum, Mr. Gucci, with 3 assists?
Yeah,
I mean,
really nice ones as well. Like here's the thing, we didn't look like ourselves. This is the most shocking thing about this. And as Wellesley alluded to, did you know the Cabbage up for Manager of the Month?
I thought you were going to say the year. I thought you were going to say it. I thought you were high.
St. Maximum Player of the Week for the 3 assists game, and then the Cabbage for
really?
player. Yeah.
Who else could win it? Look, he has a good shot, right?
Yeah.
Wait, are you undefeated in the Premier League since it started?
Since we came back, yeah.
Yeah.
2 wins, 2 draws.
And you scored 4 goals twice, right?
I mean, look, if you look at the amount of goals we're scoring, we're still being solid in defense. Going against West Ham, going down twice and fighting back, and each time to draw a level. I mean, it doesn't really look or feel anything like the rest of our season.
Now remember, Bournemouth just gave up 5 goals to Manchester United and 4 to you. Like, they stink. They stink. So
no, 100%. Like, look, I agree with you. It's not saying that we've been lighting the world on fire, but let's look at what we got. We got the 3-0 against Sheffield, right? right when we came back. Sheffield has turned it back around and are playing very good football.
And who'd
again.
you beat 4-0? Didn't you beat somebody 4-0?
No. So we had the 3-0 was the Sheffield. It was the 1-1 draw with Villa, where I feel like we were kind of unlucky with that. But it's tricky playing those teams that are fighting for their lives, as you well found out. And then we lost in the FA Cup. I mean, 2-0 was a generous scoreline in that. We got shellacked.
And you had West Ham draw.
4-1 against Bournemouth, and then 2-2 against West Ham. Right. I mean, remember when we were right before the break, right before everything kicked off, I was like thinking, we could get 0 points from these matches. Or we could get, if you would have told me those score lines and that we would have been, undefeated in 4 matches, scoring, how many is this? 10, 11 goals. I would have thought you were crazy. There's no way. And so to me, I think kind of well-deserved from the Cabbage. Not just that we got the results, but the way we're playing, it looks a lot better.
Okay, wait. Slow down. Like I've always told you, I support you, Eric Neal. I will watch Newcastle games just so I have something to talk about with you. And on Sunday morning, I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch a Newcastle game. I don't know why. And I was like, will this be a waste of my 2 hours? Will it be a waste of time? You texted back like, please don't watch. You always jinx me. So I watched the game, and I have to admit, the first 20 minutes, the two teams were playing great. Like, it was fun to watch. St. Maximin is so much fun to watch. He's such a great dribbler. Almiron looked good. His goal was great. But for a 2-2 game, if you looked at the whole thing, it was one of the worst 2-2 games I've ever seen. It was so boring in the second half. There are 2.5 players I would pay to watch on your team. 2.5, okay? Almiron and St. Maximum. And I give you a half because he's a goalkeeper, Dubravka. That's it. Jonjo Chelvey has qualities, as we know. I'm not paying to see him. There's nobody else on your squad I would pay to see. So that's 2.5. 2.5 men.
I think I'm with you. I think that's fair. There's been lots of stuff going on Twitter, Newcastle Twitter. Wellesley wasn't able to catch the game because I guess they're showing the games in England, but there's certain things where you have to have the package and all this. So he's texting me and he's like, how's Joe doing? How's Joe Ellington doing? And I'm like, it's a fucking shambles, man. It's terrible. And he's like, that's weird. People are saying he's actually having a good game. And I'm like, what in the hell? And I was tweeting back and forth with a guy and this morning, and he was like, it's helping him that there's not fans because everyone's just jumping on this guy's back and blah, blah, blah. And I said, listen, I don't think we need to be having to go at the guy nonstop. It doesn't always have to be us beating up on him. But you can say he's not very good. And the issue is he was so bad for so long that when he has an okay game, people are like, oh, no, look, he's doing good. But you saw it, man. He has a first touch like a 10-year-old basketball player. Like, I don't even know what that is. Like, I've never in my life seen someone just play a ball right to a professional footballer's feet, not even a keeper, and have it bounce like 4 yards off. Like, it's just insane. He doesn't get in good positions. Every once in a while, he'll go 2 or 3 times. He'll hold the ball up or he'll pick his head up, make an okay pass. And that's what I think happens is people get polluted by like how bad he normally is. And then when he does something just decent, they're like, oh, that's fine.
Yeah, the bar's low.
Yeah, and then, it led into another conversation about, the football was so bad early in the year and that everything just seemed dismal. And so now that things are doing well, a lot of people are like, well, don't get carried away and say everything's great under Ashley because we've had a few good results. It's like, no. I don't think that's it. I think we can separate all of these things. We could say Joelinton if he would cost $5 million, it wouldn't have been that big a deal, and we would have said, hey, we tried, it didn't really work out. But since he's a club record signing and cost 40, you have some expectations, like being able to play football at a professional level.
And you're Brazilian,
right? And you're Brazilian, and then on the other hand, it's like we can all hate Ashley and be frustrated that just surviving shouldn't be our goal. But you can also be thankful that we're not in a relegation battle right now and we're playing some decent football.
And you can't blame Jolinson on Ashley. Like,
No.
look, it's pretty lame that that's the highest amount of money you've ever paid. But still, he paid for Almiron. He paid for Jolinson, you know. Look, he's a horrible owner, but on those two, I don't blame him. Obviously, the football people picked Jolinson, and they were wrong.
Well, I mean, you get the Rafa people too, like, because Rafa didn't want him. Like, Rafa's son was like, no, we're good. We don't need that guy. And so, I'm done with the past. I'm done with thinking about the future. I'm not even going to say the words. I'm just going to enjoy this is the most points we've had, I think they said, since 1996 or something like that at this point in the season.
Wow.
So in a very long number of years, we're well safe, playing some decent football where besides Sunday for large stretches, up to that point, since we've come back, it's looked decent. They've been able to, you know.
But that's why I wanted to watch this game. I actually was like, you guys are playing okay football.
Yeah.
I want to watch you guys. And then, you know, the second half was not good.
Yeah, and so we got a pissed off City coming up next. That ought to be great. So I think we go back to our normal selves. St. Maximum's going to blow his hammy and be out for the year. Almiron's going to, like, shoot into Rosette behind the goal. Jolinton will fall over and limp off and pretend he's hurt. And we'll be right back to our normal selves. But it won't matter because, man, we're in 12th place. And, you know, at this time of the year, we're normally suffering.
What about, I saw these rumors about Maximum, like some teams are in for him. Is that true?
So, but he's on a 5-year contract.
Oh, okay.
So I'm totally not bothered. Let me rephrase. This is the first year, which we're about to wrap up, of a 6-year contract. So he has 5 years left to go. Now, that doesn't mean we couldn't cash in on him.
Right.
And I'd be devastated to see him go. But none of the teams, they're talking about Napoli or like these French.
Yeah, I saw that.
None of these teams are going to shell out the 65, 70 million it's going to cost to get this guy.
And plus, if you get new owners, which, you know, who the hell knows if you will, that's a player that I would keep. You know, you don't need the money. You don't need the money.
And even if Ashley stays, we don't need the money. And, I mean, look, fine. Someone offers 80 million. Look at Nicolas Pepe. Like, what's he done? And
Dembele for Tottenham. You know,
So I mean, why would we sell when we don't need to? It's not like we're one of these teams that's struggling for money. I saw some stat or figure or something about how we're going to bank like 135 million this season after everything. Mm-hmm. You know, even with the pandemic, even with the loss of revenue, and everything. So I mean, we're fine. I am not one little bit worried. And if for some reason they did sell him, we could probably buy 4 players to be able to replace him. So I am not bothered at all. He can't go anywhere if we don't want him to go anywhere.
Yeah. You know what? It was fun watching Newcastle. We'll look at the standings later, the table later. You guys are climbing, man. You guys are climbing.
We're riding high.
Let's move on to the rest of the Premier League. Everybody played like 2 games. We want to look at Chelsea because we're obsessed with Christian Pulisic. I think we're done being apologists for being American and with him. This guy's just a good player. He's the best, first, second, third best player on Chelsea right now. I would say Willian's playing some of his best football. So it's between Pulisic and Willian for who's playing the best on this team. And it's hands down those 2 guys. And that's it. I mean, this guy is getting an 8 out of 10 every game. Now, they played West Ham. And Chelsea has so many problems in the back defensively. It's a joke. But Pulisic, again, when I say was the second or first best player on that team that day, he got an 8 out of 10, like I said. Rudiger looked horrible. As Pulaqueta is horrendous defender. I think Christensen and Rudiger are basically the center backs for that game, and they were terrible.
I think those 2 are okay.
You think so?
It really is.
They're manhandled by Antonio on West Ham, and he's not a world beater. He's manhandled.
No, but he's very good.
Yeah.
And they push everybody up. It's the way they play. When you have your right back and left back overlapping, and they're on the end line of the opposing team, and you lose the ball, you're susceptible to getting countered. It's going to happen. And if you don't have Van Dijk, or Koulibaly or someone like that back there, and, with Oblak or Allison or Ederson or someone behind them.
Kepa ain't it. Kepa's not.
You can't, no. Look, Christensen and Kepa is not Allison and Van Dijk. It's not the same thing. So you can't send them all the way up. And even Liverpool, one of those players, Trent Alexander-Arnold or Robertson, might get that deep, into the attack. But the other one's not also that deep. So, they have to be a little bit more savvy and look and see, oh, okay, I've seen, Azpilicueta make that run and overlap and go all the way down to the end line there.
Conte needs to come back.
I gotta drop back and support him. But they're so confident they're going to score like 8 goals. I've never seen anything like it. And it's almost to their detriment sometimes. Mm-hmm. I see Pulisic make like a good little run. And they look at him, and then they don't play him the ball where he could go in and make.
Especially Ross Barkley. Something's going on there. Something's going on there.
It's the Richie Almiron thing all over again.
After you told me watch Barkley, I kept watching him. I was like, he's not giving Pulisic the ball.
No, he won't do it.
But Willian and him have a great connection. Pulisic and Willian have a great connection.
Right, they do, but the problem is they've got like almost all 10 of their outfield players inside the opposing team's 18. You're taking away the space that allows you to be dangerous and do dangerous things. And they just start like hammering balls and it bounces around and they get counterattacked. They just need to be a little bit more disciplined. You can push your people up, but it's very basic things you learn at like the U12, U13 level on how to support players. When you're talking about this and you look and see, okay, this is my position. But if I run into, this guy runs into this space, where do I go to make up for that? What do I need to do? Do I support him by making a run so he can cross me the ball? Or if he's taking that place then do I drop back into his position in case they lose the ball? There's some very like simple fundamental things that
isn't N'Golo Kante like that player who should be? He plays so deep. He plays right in front of the top
I'm talking even just about the outside, the outside backs. If your right back is all the way that deep, your left back can't be all the way that deep. But
isn't this modern football? It's Liverpool, it's City, it's all this attacking, right back, left back.
But watch, they do that, but they don't do it at the same time.
Yeah.
That's the issue. The issue is Chelsea's caught with like 9 of their guys up the field and then one guy standing at midfield. And then if the ball pops loose and you don't contain it, which they do a lot of the time, but look at the Antonio goal, right? What happened? Yeah. The ball popped loose, 3 of their players bolted, and you got one guy standing back there going, "Oh shit!"
It was a nice counterattack by West Ham, right?
But they had to finish that. Like if you looked at it, they had to. It wasn't 3-on-1. I swear it was 3-on-1.
I don't remember, but it was. They had the numbers. They had the numbers.
Yeah.
Look, but again, Pulisic. The nice thing was responsible for getting the penalty kick, which was it's a boneheaded move by the West Ham defender, but still he cut back so beautifully in the penalty box. Oh, yeah. That was nice. So that was responsible. I want him to take a penalty shot one of these days. But and then the second one, he wins a free kick. I think it was Willian who scored, or I forget who scored. Somebody scored off the free kick, but it was off. So both goals Pulisic was responsible for.
Yeah. No,
and he made darting runs. He got shots off. He's taking players on.
He's assisting. He's winning penalties.
It was nice.
You said when you were texting me, he's the most dangerous player on that team. Now, to me, I don't know if you'll say like quality-wise, he's the best player. Players like Willian like have more experience or things.
Right.
But he's the most in form and most.
But think about it. Who else really? It's not Mason Mount. Let's bring that up for a second. Mason Mount hasn't scored in like 2 decades. No. If that was Pulisic, it's over 20 games, like 25 games. Yeah, Pulisic hadn't scored out of the midfield in 25 games. He would be on the bench. Yeah. So there's a double standard there. I don't know if it's the American double standard, but it's Mason Mount is Fat Frank's guy.
Well, look, all those guys, those academy kids from Chelsea, are Frank's guys.
Yeah, but Abraham looked like a ghost in this last game. In the game against West Ham, ghost.
He's looked like a ghost since he came back, though. What happened to Abraham?
They look better with Giroud. Giroud is 34 years old, and they look better with Giroud.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think Pulisic would have gotten man of the match for the Watford game that Chelsea won, but I think Barkley edged him out. Barkley had a great game, but Pulisic, again, 8 out of 10, like I said. So Chelsea fell out of the top 4 for the first time in a long time, and then with the win, they came back to the 4th place. I want to talk about Leicester. They were sliding like you wouldn't believe. They lose to Everton 2-1, but then they come back with a nice win. Who did they play? 3-0. They beat somebody. I don't remember. But Vardy scores a couple goals, and he's at the 100-goal mark in the Premier League, which is amazing for a career. The guy is 24 years old. When he gets into the Premier League, he's bagging groceries, playing football, like lower league football. He's one of my favorite players. How about you, man? Works hard. Seems like your kind of guy.
No, I love the whole story of it. Wellesley was telling me too. He was playing non-league football not that long ago. I mean, so which is basically like you're on a very good pub team. You're like on a travel pub team is the level that's at. To make it up through the ranks from non-league to league football and then up through the pyramid and then to get 100 Premier League goals.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is an amazing achievement. And the only downside is, Leicester, to me, at one point early in the season, I was like, could they actually keep pace with Liverpool? But the problem with them is how Vardy goes, Leicester goes, And then they have the 3-0 game, like against Palace, like you're talking about. Yeah. But then they also have the 1-0 loss where they can't get anything going. And, I mean, I wonder what it would take to get them solidly in the top 4. I don't think their team's deep enough to play Champions League football and stay in the top 4 next year.
For next year, no. No, it feels like an anomaly, like these type of, like even Wolves, let's say they made it into the top 4. The next year, they're not going to do it. They don't have the squad. They don't have the funds to have a deep squad.
They did okay in the Europa League. I was surprised because they started off the year they made the Europa League. Then they started the next season off terrible, and I was like, oh, they got the curse. But they did somehow figure it out and turn it around and keep it going. But again, it makes it really difficult to manage all those different fronts. If you're really going to try and stay in the cups, if you're try and win something and stay in the top 4 race, and like play all those extra European matches, you have to have a deep squad. And Wolves, like they don't even play.
Even Liverpool and Klopp are like, look, we're going to play the kids in some of these cups, and we're just going to sacrifice this cup like that. Liverpool with all the funds and everything are still playing that way. Yeah. So if they're playing that way, how are Wolves and Leicester and those guys going to play in all these competitions? So
there's a big drop off when. The only bench I look at in the Premier League where they bring somebody in and there's absolutely no drop off is City. Yeah, that's it. Every other team, like you said, you go and you have Henderson or Genie and you take them off and you put Oxlade-Chamberlain on. It's a level down. He's still a very good player. He would start for 90% of the teams in the Premier League, but it's not the same level as what you just took off.
So moving on, look, you've been calling it. You've been on the Manchester United bandwagon. You think they're on the cusp. 16 games unbeaten in all competitions.
Always at the wheel.
Yeah, so they win against they win 4-0, then they win 5-2 against Bournemouth, which it's easy to beat Bournemouth. Boy, Mason Greenwood's good. He had a brace. Martial is playing well. Overrated Rashford's playing well. Look, they're playing well. Do they need Sancho? Do they need Jadon Sancho? If they got Mason Greenwood, Martial, Rashford, Greenwood, I don't know. I say yes still.
I mean, yes, because they have the money to spend.
Yeah. They're
like one of the richest clubs in the world. They're one of the few that could buy 2 or 3 100 million pound players, and it's not going to hurt them. And if they miss on one, like Sanchez, I mean, he wasn't, the transfer fee, but the wages.
It's like 300,000 to 400,000 a week or something. Yeah,
something insane like that. But they can afford to do that. I think it's good to have competition. I think it's good as long as your young players are getting enough games, because I look at someone like Phil Foden on City. who I don't know how they've held on to him as long as they have. And I think really next year he's probably going to take Silva's spot and start every match. But I don't see Manchester United keeping these young players if you bring in Sancho and now they're playing half the matches. You know, Greenwood, because he's been doing so well, is going to want minutes. You know, it makes it a struggle. And who are you going to get rid of? I mean, I buy him and I just figure it out later.
Me too.
You just hope Ole's the guy to keep it together. Like Klopp, he knows how to put his arm around you and like, no, I need you for the cup match or this. Or Pep is like, I have huge plans for the future or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't see Ole as that same kind of guy. I see Ole as coming in, hey, you know, maybe you're going to play next week. And the guy calls his agents, like, get me out of here, man. I'm not. So I don't know.
The good coaches. Look, the coach doesn't have to justify playing you. He can do whatever he wants. But the good coaches like Pep and Jurgen will go to that player and say, this is why you're not playing. Right. And explain it to them. I don't have to justify why I'm not playing you. I just want to explain it to you. Those are the good coaches. I don't know if Jose does that. Do you think he does that, by the way?
No.
I think he's just like, hey, man, deal with it.
Yeah, he shows up to your house during lockdown and says, get your shoes on. We're going for a run.
So talk about Jose. He's, look, he's in this mode of winning one, losing one, winning one, losing one. He beats Everton today on a Michael Keane own goal from, an Everton. So it wasn't like a dynamic performance. It took some pressure off Jose. But there. We'll look at the table in a second, but nothing's going on there with Spurs.
But Spurs were a dumpster fire when he got there. Like everyone's like trying, like they have a short memory on how bad it was. Like the last 3 or 4 months when Poch was there, they were a shambles. They all like felt bad and were like, sorry, Gaffer, like we're just not getting it together. For Jose, maybe they just hate Jose, but it was the same exact kind of results. If not, Jose's probably done better. If you look at the matches.
This segment is sponsored by Eric Loves Jose.
Yeah. One thing, because Wellesley sent me a message. He's like, what's going on in the Spurs match? And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm not watching it. And he says something happened with Son and Lloris.
I didn't see the game.
And so I guess coming off at halftime, they had to be separated.
Really?
So I'm thinking, and look, as much as I love Jose, the first thing that popped in my mind was, I'm like, oh man, he's losing a grip on the club. You've got Son, who's like universally thought of as like the nicest
lovely guy
from the league, and Lloris, who does not seem like a hothead to me. He's eating baguettes, hanging out. And all of a sudden they're going to each other's throat coming off the field. I was like, oh, what Jose? He's got to get control of it.
He loves it. Usually it's 3 or 4 years before he's pissed everybody off. It's only been 3 or 4 months. You never know.
I mean, he could have been trying to light a fire. He could have gone up to Lloris and been like, you hear Son cracking jokes about you before the thing. What? Really? Go to Son. Man, Lloris is talking all sorts of crap. Maybe it was one of his tactics and it backfired, but that's shocking to see that kind of stuff.
Moving on to the other London club, Arsenal, we said they were dead. 3 wins in a row in the Prem. They beat Wolves 2-0. Like, look, literally, Arsenal looked like one of the worst clubs in the league, and then they reel off this little streak. I'm not saying like they're in the the semis of the FA Cup. It's a weird season. It's such a mediocre season. I hate to give you that, Eric. That's down. It is a little down. I get it. That people are so streaky. Other than Liverpool, and that includes City, everybody is streaky.
Arsenal, man, I'm telling you, Arsenal really could like sneak into a European spot, and to me, that's a miracle with what Arteta.
Oh, and that would be a miracle. Although, look, all the teams around them are mediocre too. I mean, look, Sheffield United looked horrendous, and then they have this big result. Like, you can't predict any of this stuff.
No, Newcastle's unbeaten in 4 matches. Like, cats and dogs.
You and I had him not winning drawing 5 times and losing 4 when we looked at his schedule.
Yeah, I was like, maybe we can hold on for 39 points.
Now they got 8 points out of a possible, 12? Yeah, that's it. Let's look at the table real quick before we move on. Liverpool with 89 points. They got 5 games to go. Give me your prediction. Are they getting to over 100?
It's hard to see them not. I mean, let's
4 wins.
Okay, they need what? So what do they need to get to 100? They need 3 wins and 2 draws minimum.
Right, minimum.
Minimum. Okay, so you've got Brighton on Wednesday.
Win.
That's got to be 3 points.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Burnley 30. On Saturday.
I mean, Burnley in the middle of the table. You never know. They could get a draw, but, let's give a win. 6.
Okay. Arsenal.
Draw or win. No? I don't know. The way they're playing right now, I get a little concerned. Let's give them another draw.
All right. Chelsea.
8. 9. 9, maybe a draw there. And then a win against Newcastle. I don't like this. I don't like how this is shaping up. Let's move on.
Newcastle on the last day to break a hundy. You either lose or draw. You end up on 88 or 89, or you get the win, and then you end up on 101. I love it.
I wouldn't show up for that show. Man City, are they solid in second? No chance Leicester is going to catch them 8 points behind. Like, impossible, right?
No, come on, yeah. Not the way Leicester's playing.
Yeah, no. So really the battle is between 3, 4, 5. Right now you got Leicester 58, Chelsea 57, Man United 55. So they're all clumped there. Wolves at 52. So really 3 to 6 is going to be a real fun battle. And then, we don't know about that Champions League spot. If it's going to be the 15 or not. Arsenal at 49. I thought they were dead. Completely dead. It'd be shocking. Look, they could overtake Wolves possibly, but, I don't think they're going to get into the 5th spot. Going down, Newcastle at 12. What the hell?
I know.
Look at the teams around you. What do we think? Everton? You could catch Everton.
Yeah.
You could be in 10th place. There's a distinct possibility you could be in 10th place.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not like like Rafa 10th place where it was miserable football and it's like, great, we're in 10th, but it's like soul-sucking death march of discipline, since we've been back, we actually are trying to do things. Now, look, it doesn't always come off because we don't have a world-class player at every position, but I mean, they're getting more than 50% possession in the match. They're having a lot of shots on target. It's St. Maximin and Almiron look both like quality, are getting things done. I mean, I don't know. To me, there's some joy actually creeping back in to the whole situation.
Newcastle and Marcus's team, Southampton. You're tied.
Yeah.
I think you're ahead on points. I mean, on goals.
Goal difference,
Norwich is done. Bournemouth, the way they're playing, even though they're not done, look, I say they're done. But I guess they could turn it around somehow, but close to being done. The way Villa played against us, I don't know. I'm actually pipping them to get out of this thing. I think Watford's going to slide down. That's what I think. Mm-hmm. I like the way Villa play.
I don't know, man. I feel like the Watford manager with Nigel Pearson, I think he's too much of a psycho. I think the players are too scared of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Someone asked on Twitter today, like, who do you think's going down? And I mean, Bournemouth has 1 foot in the grave. I mean, although, to put a couple wins together and all of a sudden you shot up to like 15th. So
yeah, I know.
It's crazy season at the top.
God, Eddie Howe's stock has just fallen, hasn't it, as a manager?
Yeah,
he was going to be the England manager. He was going to get a big job, and now it's like he might be in the championship next year. It doesn't mean he's a horrible manager. Just seems like it's a little condemning.
When I look at it, I'm looking at the 18, 19, 20 right now. Villa, Bournemouth, and Norwich. I think that's exactly how it's going to end the season. Yeah. I
feel like West Ham will find a way to stay up. They're fine. And Brighton, yeah. So it's really the 5 bottom teams are fighting it out with Norwich, definitely. But really it's 4 teams. But
I think Brighton's safe.
Yeah. Something bugs me about seeing David Moyes on the sidelines. He looks crazy.
No,
he would be crazy at Everton. He annoyed the hell out of me at Manchester United. The guy just annoys me.
Think about how hard times his career's fallen on. I mean, you went from being this legend where you could do your whole career at Everton if you wanted to, just universally loved, to Manchester United where you're just a complete mockery.
You're replacing Ferguson, right?
Right, and then you bounce around for a while, then end up couple spells at West Ham and almost dragged them into the championship. I mean, you're just a shambles. How do you go on every day and just get up and go, back to work? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I have the fortitude for it.
Yeah. All right, so that's the table. That's a good look at it. I got some miscellaneous notes before I get to any of your last-minute notes. Weston McKennie, our man, American, plays for Schalke, linked to a bunch of German clubs, as well as your club, Newcastle, and Everton. I told you,
I heard Liverpool today.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I heard he's linked with Liverpool. I was like, get off of my player. Like, you don't need McKennie. Like, where are you going to put him?
If I'm McKennie, I actually don't go to Liverpool. I go to Newcastle. I will get time at Newcastle.
Right. Yeah. Like, go where you're going to play. He shows up.
I don't know where he'd play. Like, you got Fabinho. That's his spot. I don't know where McKennie would play at Liverpool. Newcastle, I actually think Everton or Newcastle are a good shout.
Yeah.
And I will get a Newcastle shirt if McKennie goes there.
Oh,
I will.
I love it.
I will.
Love it. That's beautiful. I won't get a Liverpool shirt if he goes there because he'll
Now, can you look at his play with not being your American bias hat on? Would he fit into your midfield? Do you like him?
Yeah, absolutely.
You would, right?
I would take him or Adams in a second.
Yeah. Okay, last thing before I let you finish up. The dumbest stat of the week. Somebody on air, I forget who it was on the telecast, said, Willian has scored in every month of the Premier League season this year. First player ever. What a dumb stat. The Premier League has never gone on in July. It doesn't mean anything. It's the dumbest stat ever. It just so happens we're playing in the 1 month that has never been played in before. And he just happened to score in the other 11 months. Give me a freaking break. Dumb stat.
I went to work every month in the work year. Does that count for something?
I had some Fudos, but I don't know where I put them, so forget them for this week. What do you got? Anything last-minute notes?
Well, okay. Before I get to something it's sort of the classic Fudo, but I'm just going to save it for a second.
Okay.
What about this shambolic MLS tournament that keeps getting delayed and is just a disaster? More positive tests. People walking around the hotel all locked in.
FC Dallas had to delay the game to hit their first game.
I think there's 2 matches have been delayed already at the start of this thing. People keep testing positive. The bubble has like a whole bunch of holes in it. I don't even know. What do you call a bubble with a hole in it? Usually that's just air. There's nothing left. Yeah. But the players said that like they can't even get food delivered to their rooms. That it's forcing them to go down to the common areas to get food, which is probably spreading more shit around anyway. Why? And okay, I know the answer to this, but let's just say it out loud. Why do you think they don't just call this off and say, player safety, it's too big of a risk. Let's just shut it down.
I mean, look, if there's no fans, it's all TV money. There's not a lot of TV money for us here in the States with MLS and ESPN and Fox. I would just, if they have some kind of reserve, MLS reserve, give some money to the teams, call off the season, let's start it up next year. This is dumb. I mean, this is dumb.
It's just getting
and dangerous.
Yeah.
And irresponsible.
Okay. We talked about this a little bit last week, but a month and a half ago or 6 weeks or 8 weeks ago, whenever they hatched this idea, like what can we do? At that time, there were very few cases in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
So the idea was, what we'll do is we'll go somewhere who's willing to host sporting events, who has the infrastructure, who has enough hotel rooms and facilities and things in place to be able to host this thing in a responsible way. And then we'll get teams together and they'll train, and then we come in, we do all this. Well, everything shifted in the amount of time it took them to put the plan together and get people ready to jump on a plane and get down to Orlando. Now it's one of the 3 states that has the highest number of cases in the whole country, really the whole world, if you think about it, because we're leading the world, America, #1 in COVID. You have to at some point say, we had a good plan, but the good plan is out the window. There is no more plan. This is a shambles, and we got to stop it.
What was it, money? Like, why can't MLS – because I thought a lot of the teams went to private planes, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are still charter planes. Regular commercial planes. But why couldn't we just do what the Premier League in Germany is doing, where you just fly the teams to the stadium, there's no fans, and you test them when they come into the stadium? And
I think
if you're going to do something.
Yeah, I think they don't even fly to every match in MLS. They got a number of charter planes in per year increased in the newest contract.
Charter,
to make it, more comfortable and convenient for the. But I think it's purely the distances. You're looking at, Orlando or Miami to Seattle is like flying from England to Russia or something like that. I mean, I probably Fudoed that, but it's very,
we get the idea. No Fudo there.
Yeah, it's very, very far. So it's not the same as in England where it's a long drive to go from Newcastle to Southampton, but it's not that long of a flight. And you can.
They take buses, don't they? I think a lot of the teams take buses.
A lot of times they do because they either take the train or they take.
Or buses. Manchester to Liverpool. It's so close. Yeah.
It's not that far. So for us, going to Cincinnati from Columbus, not a big deal. Flavortown is only 90 minutes from Cincinnati, so we're good. It's not a thing. So I think what happened was the reason they pushed it to come back was there was an opportunity with sports being out to jump in and be one of the first to come back and capture that audience who is hungry for sports and maybe bring in some new viewers and then keep things going to hopefully in the fall when the numbers drop down, bring these people back in the stadium and get everything going. Yeah. The problem is we haven't addressed this pandemic in any sort of responsible way. You go out in public and you look and you see 1 out of every 10 people wearing a mask. It's a shambles. And because of that, we have more daily cases happening now than we did in April that was supposed to be the peak of the whole thing. So really, I'm just concerned about what does this look like? People are talking about maybe college football, having people in the stadiums and all these, there's no possible way. I don't know how we're going to have schools start back up in the fall. Yeah. I mean, if they don't get this under control, we're going to have a real problem. And
MLS is not the beacon of light we should look to say, hey, they're doing it right. So
no, I mean, and the United States is not Germany. Yeah. In Germany, they set some very clear parameters.
And it's easier to do that of that size. I mean, we're too big.
No, but they're also disciplined people and give a shit about their fellow man. So it's like we're battling things on a whole bunch of different fronts here that make it very difficult.
Our German viewers, we love you.
We do. I mean, look, our French listeners love you too.
We love you.
Yeah.
No, Europe is doing better than us.
That's what it is. Look, our American listeners, we love you, but we're shit at COVID. So
no, we're not good at this. MLS, Premier League, Bundesliga, it makes sense. MLS is a third-rate league, so we're going to do it at third-rate.
We're putting on a third-rate tournament, and we're going to kill somebody with the COVID virus. Yeah. So
anyway, this is a third-rate show. Let's move on.
Right. Fourth rate. We're going to get promoted to the third rate at the end of the season. All right. So the only thing I have, I don't have any true, going back to last week, but there's something that you say every week that really harkens to the original idea of the Fudo, where you take somebody's name.
Yeah. Did I say it wrong?
It's close to the real name, but it's not really. The original Fudo, if you remember, was calling Daniel Sturgis, which was beautiful, right?
Yes. That's the original one.
We used to die.
So what do I do?
Right, it wasn't either one of us. Where is the R in Fabinho?
Farbinho?
There's no R.
Fabinho.
There is no
Fabinho.
R in it.
Do I say Farbinho?
Fabinho.
I don't know. It's Fabinho.
I know.
Look, so can I tell you something?
Yeah, lay it on me.
I get Firmino and Fabinho, and I just mash it together. They're both Brazilian, right? And it's too much. It's too much for this melon to handle.
If they were married and had a surrogate bore them a child,
it'd be
Fabinho.
Fabinho. Well, they're both Brazilian, like I said. All right, Fabinho and Fabinho.
Classic Fudo.
Fudo. All right, Eric, Neil, it's Goble time. Get off my lawn. You ready for this? It's a quick one.
I'm ready.
Since we just did 8 hours of talking. CBS, first of all, did you know that CBS Sports here in the United States is showing the NWSL games? Did you know that? National Women's Soccer League?
Sort of.
You can You didn't know that, did you?
I did.
So they kicked off their season, their tournament, kind of like the MLS, like last week or a couple weeks ago. I don't even know. I apologize. I don't know when it started. But it seems that CBS Sports, during the water break, they have water breaks as well in this league, went to commercials. This is sacrilegious. The point of football, like in European leagues, you would never have a commercial during the flow of the game. And you know what? A water break is still the flow of the game. So they went to commercial breaks. And somebody argued that, like, hey, look, if it pays the bills and it helps the women's game survive, so be it. And I was like, all right, I can see that. But you never have commercials. You have commercials before the kickoff, halftime, and postgame. And that's it. It's been done like that for forever, and it was a bad look. So you know what? CBS Sports, get off my lawn, because that's bullshit. And you know what? This water break thing, I've decided, needs to get off my lawn as well. Why does the Premier League say, we're going to have a water break no matter what? Even if it's snowing out now, just because it's June and July, why don't they look at the temperature and say, if it's below 70 degrees, no water break. We don't need one. But if it's 80 and 85 with humidity, we have a water break. Game to game. Why do we do that every time? All right, go ahead, Eric.
No, I would have to agree with you on that. I mean, I hate to get off my lawn the women's game because they have enough trouble, trying to get things together. But sometimes you really just have to call it out for what it is. Commercials? Come on.
You're in the Bahamas. You're like in a permanent water break, man.
Look, I'm not hurting for water out here.
And you know what? One more thing, Eric Neal.
Yep.
It's like a timeout with that 67-minute water break. Teams come back, and they look different. The flow of the game is different. A team loses momentum. One team regains the momentum. It's not natural. I don't understand this water break thing. Just go, I don't know, get off the field, grab a thing of water, and come on.
Yeah, too much. All right, so my get off my lawn this week goes to whichever rapscallion lit on fire the Dixie Dean statue outside Goodison Park, okay? So this statue is a place where people lay flowers and wreaths to pay respect for loved ones who've recently passed away. And somehow, some knuckleheads have gone up and lit the thing on fire. And I'm not going to point the finger because, a lot of times in this society, you go too quickly and you assign blame to some people, and sometimes you find out that they were set up and it wasn't even really them. I'm just going to say it looks like it was set on fire with a red flare. Now, look, make whatever you want. Make whatever you want out of that. I'm not pointing out, I'm not trying to stereotype Liverpool people. Oh, just because it's red, the Liverpool person? Probably, but I'm not willing to assign blame yet. But if you were said person who desecrated the beautiful, beautiful memorial that is the Dixie Dean statue outside Goodison Park, get off my lawn, man. It's not cool. And if you're a Liverpool person that did it, extra bad form. And don't just get off my lawn. Get completely out of my neighborhood. If it wasn't a Liverpool person, I completely apologize, and you guys are great.
Hey, we didn't pee on it.
Well, you might need to put it out because the thing, it looks like it's going to be burning for a while. So get off the lawn.
All right, Eric, I have a would you rather question.
Ooh.
Would you rather have Steve Bruce win out and get Newcastle to 58 points, which would be, that would blow your head off, right? 58.
I don't even know what to say about that.
So you get Steve Bruce leads you to 58 points. He wins Manager of the Month of the week. And you get the takeover happens. And you can't fire him. So it makes the new owners basically say, this guy is pretty good. I never even heard of the guy, but he must be good. So we'll keep him. Or would you rather, because come on, that's a great season, 58 points? Or would you rather him lose out and you stay at 43 points and Steve Bruce maybe doesn't get fired right away, maybe after 2 weeks or something, but he gets fired? Which would you rather have?
So I gotta think of the context here. So if Ashley is staying,
Yeah.
Say the takeover doesn't happen.
You can't reframe the question.
No. Look, because it makes a difference.
Okay.
If we're stuck with Ashley for a whole nother year or longer,
you'll take your 58 points.
I want the 58 points, and Bruce is fine for that. The players really respond to him. Even things when they were going really, really shitty, and we looked like we didn't have a clue. The players love the guy. He's your kind of guy. He's the put the arm around you and rub you on the head when you come on. Like he's perfect for your kind of play, and our players seem to really respond to that. So, to me, take the 58 points, the possible Europe. You get the FA Cup winner takes a spot, and then you get the ban for City and this, and we sneak our way into Europe, and all of a sudden we're in the top 10, and we're Bruce is flying Europa League Magpies. I'm for it, but if it gets to the point where you've got the new owners coming in, and all of a sudden now they're put in a little bit of a bind. Now, they don't strike me as the kind of sentimental people that are going to be worried about Steve Bruce and getting 58 points.
Right.
It seems like they would thank him for his service and send him away with like a sweet gold watch or something like that. Nice trip to Aruba. You can visit me down here. So to me, I think I'm probably going 58 points no matter what, just because I think Bruce, I didn't think it before, but I think now after reflecting on it, he is the right guy for the job if Ashley stays.
Right. He's an Ashley guy, but new money, Middle East money.
New money? No, he's got to go.
He's one guy.
Look, love you, Cabbage, but you got to go. But
okay.
Who are we going to get? If Ashley stays, Poach isn't coming.
No.
All Allegri isn't coming. All these the managers.
No, Bruce will get you 43 points next year. Yeah. You'll get your 58 this year. It'll be a miracle. And then next year, he'll get you 42, maybe 40, in that range. And you got to watch Jolinton for another year.
Oh God! I said it earlier. I had this conversation before. You can be happy with survival as long as that's not the ambition. As long as every year you're not sitting there going, "Oh, woo! We made it to 40 points and we're not getting relegated. Yeah, what a great year." We want more than that, but we also don't want to be relegated again. So I don't know. It's something to be said for that. And good on you, Bruce. I've been very, very hard on him this year, but ending our season the way that we've ended it, even if it goes to shambles after this, coming back from the break where I was worried that it was going to be a complete shit show, and having what we have, I've actually been able to enjoy football again. So
what if you lose out the rest of the season though? You have 43 points.
I mean, look, it depends on the losses, right? Like if we're losing these close matches and we look like we have an idea of what we're doing, it wouldn't be that bad. But if it goes to like how it was, if I'm going back to the dark days of late fall and early winter where we couldn't even pass the ball 2 times before it got ripped off of us, that I don't want to see, because then you got a bad taste in your mouth and you go into the summer break and you're all pissed off. I don't need that in my life.
You got cabbage in your mouth, man. Bad taste of cabbage. All right, what do you got for me, man?
I kind of like cabbage though. Something else that tastes bad.
He smells like boiled cabbage, probably.
So, I'm pretty sure I've asked you this before, but it needs updating because we're kind of on the cusp of it actually happening. So,
okay.
You may or may not end up with the points record. You'll for sure have the record for the largest gap, like the largest, between first and second place, the largest margin of victory. And you may or may not get the points, the most points in Premier League history. But at the end of the day, when we're talking about real trophies, not like the Club World Cup or things like that, you're going to have the Premier League trophy this season. Very, very good after 30 years. I mean, people are happy to have it. Yeah. But if Man City go on to win the Champions League, they already won the Carabao Cup. And if they win the FA Cup, if they get that, who's had the better season?
Interesting. I don't think we've really discussed it like that. Look, Man City is built, and the owners want the Champions League. Like they've done the Premier League. Dusted. It's a disappointing year for them. I think even if they came in second place and lost by like 8 points to Liverpool, we'd be like, City are amazing. They're fine. They're incredible. But if they win the Champions League, which is something Pep needs to do and these owners want, and they get 2 other trophies. The Caribou one, I don't really count. But if they get 3 trophies, boy, that's a tough one. The way City played this year, I can't give it to them as having the better year. I still have to give it to Liverpool. I still have to say 30 years, the wait is over. They finally won the Premier League. So they already won the Champions League. So they're built now like, okay, we won the Champions League. We need the Premier League. So if City has already won the Premier League and they're built now for the Champions League and they win it, it's about even, I would say.
And well, if you're just going off those two, if you're saying if they only won the Champions League and you only won the Premier League, I would probably give it to you as well because you broke the curse.
You're saying the FA Cup and the other crappy cup tips it over?
So you're looking at they would consider that a treble. It's not, to me, it's not the treble. To me, the way
they played this year was not, it wasn't good.
No, it's not. That's the funny part about it, though. They've got the lead going into the second leg with Real Madrid.
Right.
And then you look at the other teams. Besides Bayern, no one else really, terrifies me like City's going to get destroyed. I mean, this is their best opportunity.
But everybody said they were primed. Like, after they beat Liverpool, they are ready. They are ready for Champions League to make the run. And then they lose to Southampton. You know? So I'm like, I don't think anybody could say who's going to win the Champions League. Could be anybody. I don't know. City, Bayern Munich. I don't know. I think because, like I said, 30-year absence, they had to win the Premier League. After last year's near miss, I still feel Liverpool had the better season, even if City win the Champions League and the other bogus trophies. That's my opinion. Take it or leave it.
You're wrong, but it's your question. You get to answer how you want.
Thank you. All right, Eric, this is a quick Belland, a short Belland, okay? I think he's been a Belland Award winner before, but Don Garber, MLS commish. I can't stand this guy. I think I've called him a Belland before. And I would call him a Belland to his face. Because back in the day when Columbus was doing the groundbreaking on the new stadium and Don Garber shows up and he gets booed and people turn their backs to him, people were in his face saying, we don't like you. And you know what? Don Garber is saying, I don't like you either, Columbus, because during this bogus tournament, we talked about it last week, the TV schedule for the Crew is horrendous. The Hell is Real Derby match played down in Orlando. That's laughable right there. The game is on 10:30 p.m. at night. It's not East Coast. There's no East Coast thing going on here. It's 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, which for people in the rest of the world is so late at night to play a soccer game. I think maybe in Spain sometimes they play a soccer game that late. But this is one of the marquee matchups of the whole tournament, and they're going to play at 10:30 at night. Well, the following game, the Crew play New York Red Bulls, one of the big teams in MLS. 10:30 again at night. I'm going to be asleep. I don't know about you. And then the last game is 8 o'clock against Atlanta. I guess Garber was like, yeah, what the hell, I'll let you play there. But no ESPN games. No big nationally televised games. I think they might be on Fox. I'm not sure. My point is, Don Garber, you're trying to stick it to us. No. You're the Belland Award winner because we are the ones who stick it to you, Don Garber. I hate him.
Yeah, he's the worst. And the one match that we have that is not at 10:30 at night is in Spanish on Telemundo. So congratulations. Muy bien.
He's really screwed us, man.
No, that's intentional. Sometimes you have stuff where you can argue, the logistics of the thing happened and this popped up, whatever. That is a straight FU Columbus right there is what that is. My Belland Award this week goes to Premier League referees. All right? I've got a little bit of a stat for you here. Okay. Newcastle United have had 12 penalties given to them, where someone fouled our player in the box, we were given the penalty. 12 of them since the 2013-2014 season. Manchester United has also had 12 penalties given to them. Okay. This season alone by itself. What the hell? I've always known that there was insane bias against us, And all you have to do is watch one of our matches. We had in the game on Sunday, guy ripped a shot. Now, the guy was pulling his arm in, but while he was pulling it in, it hit him straight on the hand and knocked the ball from going towards the goal. Now, they're like, oh, what could he do? He was trying to get it out of his way. Yes, he was trying. He failed. He did not get it out of the way. It hit him in the fucking hand. They take goals away from people for it bumping someone's arm 10 passes before the fucking goal went in, but somehow the guy knocking it away from the goal when it's on its way in is not a penalty? This is the kind of shit that happens to us every fucking time, and I'm done with it. Mike Dean is one of the worst fucking offenders. He gives shit all the time against us, but never ever for us. And so I think people need to get their shit together and actually start calling a real match. Now, look, I see, letting it go here and there, but now you've got VAR. It was obvious, clear as day that ball hit that guy's hand. That should have been a pen. We score that. We actually win that match 3-2. And now you really are talking about, Steve Bruce's magical Europa League Magpies. So for all of you douchebag referees that will never, ever give us our due and give us our penalties when we deserve them, you are my Bell End Award winners.
You fucking bellend.
All right, so we're here for this week's Twitter shout-outs. As always, I have to give a big thank you and shout-out to our man, Andrew Wells. He's at Wellsy95NUFC. The Shoot the Defense podcast, they're at Shoot the Defense. The Ball Chat podcast, they're at Ball Chat 1. And the Bryant and Me podcast, they're at Bryant and Me. Thanks for all the retweets when we're promoting the pod each week. We had a really good week this week, so keep up the good work. We really appreciate it. And to all of the podcasts on our network, bigheadsmedia.com. I just had a couple funnies that I saw this week. Footy Humor, they're at Footy Humor, had a picture of Bernardo Silva. It says, Bernardo Silva doesn't give a fuck about a guard of honor. And it shows everyone clapping for you guys when you're walking down the row, the middle of the people there. And he's got, I don't even know what it is. It doesn't even look like a legal team tracksuit top or whatever, but he's drinking a drink. He's like looking the opposite way and just drinking a drink. So good on you, Bernardo Silva. Don't give him anything. St. Maximum posted, he's really active on Twitter and everything. It was just great, but he posted a picture because everyone was saying that he was coming for you, West Ham, and he was going to take you out. You can buy online the hats from those guys that do the funeral meme dance.
Oh, yeah, your favorite.
So he posted a picture of it with the eyeballs looking like, woo, like, maybe you should get one of these hats.
That's good. Oh, he seems like he enjoys life.
Oh, he really does. He's a great guy, family man, always doing stuff with his kids. Like, just beautiful human being. Never.
Sometimes he dribbles into trouble, but it's okay.
You know what? But it's a beautiful. Even when it goes wrong, it's beautiful.
It's fast.
Future USMNT, they're at Future USMNT, had some stats. It was Christian Pulisic versus Watford. 90 minutes played, 92% passing accuracy, 61 touches, 9 duels won, 4 fouls drawn, 3 shots, 3 tackles won, 2 key passes, and 1 penalty won. All over the field again today. He is in the best form of his career at the moment. Fire. So, the man just absolutely killing it. So
it's fun to watch him. This is his best. I'm sure he had some really good streaks at Dortmund, but boy, this is good right now.
Oh yeah. Troll Football at Troll Football had a good one. It says if Bruno Fernandes keeps playing like this, it's only a matter of time before a big club comes in for him.
That's a good dig.
I knew you'd appreciate that. That one's for you, Shingy. That was a nice little shots fired there. The last one I got here just made me laugh a little bit. I almost thought about putting this up there for the Belland Award, but ESPN FC posted, Zidane wants respect. He says, I'm tired of it. It's as if we only win games because of the referees. It isn't like that. Real Madrid and what the players are doing on the pitch deserve respect. They get more calls than anybody you've seen in the history of the world. You think Man United used to get calls in the Fergie days, man. It is nothing on Real Madrid. Someone posted a real funny thing. It had the picture of the big screen with VAR on it, and it says VAR, whatever Real Madrid wants. So it's amazing. So that's really all I had this week. good show, buddy.
Yeah, good show, man. It was a bit of a marathon, but as usual, it's good to see you, man. Check us out on YouTube if you're not already watching us right now. Go to just put in Two Rash Challenges. Don't get scared by our ugly mugs. It's good to see you, my friend. Put on some sun lotion down in the Bahamas, okay?
I got you.
Later, brother. Love you.
Yeah, love you, man.
Peace.
That's our show for this week. Please check us out on Twitter at @rash_podcast, on Facebook at 2Rash Challenges, or email us at 2rashchallenges@gmail.com. Also check out our website, 2rashchallenges.com, where you can find articles, videos, and photos. And if you like the show, tell a friend, and make sure you go to iTunes and give us a review. We'd really appreciate it. Until next time, for Eric, our producer and engineer Ezra Jack Lewis, our main man on the streets Andrew Wells, and myself, we say cheers.